guys, I'm live on this video. Let me just send the link to the previous video because I messed up with the stream. Live streaming always messes me up. Give me one sec. Thanks for your patience. Okay, I'm here. So I know we had some people on that last call, so I just want to make sure that everyone got this link. So if you're here, let me know. I might have to send out another email really quick. Okay, I'm gonna send out an email really quick. Sorry guys, you know what happens is sometimes when you make a live video, it presets to making it vertical when I want horizontal, and it really messes things up and you can't change it. You have to start a new stream. But anyways, if you're here, let me know. Today, I'm excited. It is our last call, indeed, but I feel like we have some good stuff to talk about. I've got some Q&As ready. Okay. Sent out the email. So hopefully nobody's missing out. Only got a couple people on right now. Okay, so let me adjust this just slightly. Okay, so welcome, our last live coaching call. I can't believe it's been 6 months. 6 months has gone by really quickly. You know, some of you have done like really well. You've got your product launch, you're making consistent sales, which is awesome. Some of you are still getting started, and that's okay. But, you know, I'm noticing some patterns, and the things that I notice most is that people are complaining about just not finding the time to work on their Amazon business. And this is a big problem. And so I want to address that today. And today I'm actually going to give you 12 steps for time management. And I know we covered the Tony Robbins time quadrants in another live video, but this is different. These are my steps that I believe help the most, maybe things that can help you be more productive with your time. And really it comes down to prioritization. And so I think, you guys have to treat this as a business. You can't treat this as something that may or may not work for you, something that you just do on the side. If you're gonna start an Amazon business, you gotta go full in. And it doesn't mean that you have to quit your job, it just means that you have to prioritize it. So sometimes that means that you're not gonna enjoy some hobbies that you might have. Maybe you're gonna have to sacrifice your reading time or your bath time, or maybe you're not gonna get to hang out with your friends as much or party as much, but these are the sacrifices required to make this business grow. And so we're gonna get into that today. And it might be a little bit harsh, but that's the truth. If you want to have a successful business, you have to be willing to put in the work. And if you put in the work, you're going to see results. It's not really possible that you do all the steps in the Amazon training step by step by step, plus continue to expose yourself to training. Like, do additional research online, watch videos, go to seminars, listen to books, listen to podcasts, read books. If you do all that, you're gonna succeed. And if you don't, that's questionable. The training is good. It is a blueprint. The Amazon FBA, as you guys know now, you've probably gone through the whole course, hopefully. It is kind of detailed. It is. There's quite a few components to it, which is why I recommend taking a course. But once you figure it out, it's a blueprint. It's simple. You replicate that and you just do it again and again, and you keep launching products. And then pretty soon you have a big brand, and it's pretty amazing what you're capable of. So number one is you have to really believe that this is a business. You have to treat it like a business. You have to make sure that your family and your friends know that this is a business. So when they see you on your computer, it doesn't mean that you're just on Facebook chatting with friends. It means that you're doing work. And so you shouldn't be having people distract you at that time. So yeah, let's get into it. If you're here, please say hi on the chat so I know you're here. Give me your name so I know who it is. And again, feel free to post questions in the chat. I will definitely be answering them at the end of the stream. And yes, let's get into it. So number one, you need to master tracking your day. So for 1 week long, I want you to do this challenge with me, if you will. 1 week long, just track everything that you do hour by hour during the day. So, first thing in the morning, what do? Do you check your phone? Are you on social media, or are you reading the news on your phone? Are you reading a book? Or do you get up and do your morning ritual? Or do you just get up right away, brush your teeth, get ready, have a shower, go straight to work? Track everything. Then once you're at work, while you're at work, you're doing your work, maybe on free time, how often are you checking your phone? How often are you, on Twitter or on your favorite website, or, CBC News, or whatever it may be? Track everything in a journal. Once you get home, do you spend an hour cooking food? Do you spend an hour eating food? Figure out exactly where you're spending your time. And once you've done that, you need to identify open spots of time. So you need to figure out, okay, as soon as I get home at, for example, maybe 6 p.m., I have about an hour of time where I usually just relax. I decompress, I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't do anything. I just kind of sit there, watch a bit of TV, and then I get started on making dinner, or then I get started on my Amazon business. So you have that open hour. So you need to be writing things down. And the hardest part about this process is being honest with yourself. Because sometimes when you're tracking things, you'll actually cheat a little bit. So if you're tracking how many times you're opening your phone and checking your phone, you might do it less that day just because you don't want to write it down. So just be honest with yourself. For that whole week, do things as you would. Don't try and change anything, because you're going to start noticing that, oh yeah, I am spending quite a bit of time. I do have quite a bit of open time. I should fill it up. No, just for 1 week, do as you would regularly. And then at the end of the week, open up your journal and reassess it and figure out, okay, where are the open spots? And then identify things that you're doing that maybe you shouldn't be doing. So see how much free time you can create in 1 week. So that's mastering to track your day. So do that for 1 week and find those open spots. Next, you need to master your beliefs. So this is all about the mindset. So how often do you find yourself saying, a million things to do and just not enough time. You need to change that, change the limiting beliefs that you have. And you got to remember that the one thing that's equal in this world is time. We all have 24 hours in a day. There's not much else that's really equal among humans. The fact that we all have 24 hours in a day is equal. So when the President of the United States can get such and such and such done in 24 hours a day, well, that's because he prioritizes certain things. Or when, for example, the video I just released, if you haven't checked it out, about Angie Chacon on YouTube, she's a single mom of 4. She started her Amazon business when she just was going through a divorce, not financially in a great spot, and she had to support her kids. And out of desperation, she started doing the ASM course. She built her course up to $500,000 per month in sales. So, and she started the course at the same time I did. So the thing is, if she can do it and she's 24 hours in a day with 4 children as a single mom, then there's got to be a way that you can find more time. So start to realize that, don't use time as an excuse anymore, because it really comes down to prioritization. The fact of the matter is, if you want something bad enough, you're going to find a way. If you really, really want something, there is always a way to get it. If you really wanted to get the ASM course, but you didn't have money, there's a way to get it. And if you need more references about this, I definitely recommend looking at Tony Robbins' work. Tony Robbins, he always talks about finding a way. If there is no way, make the way. So that's really important to have those references in your life. So limiting beliefs, you may hear yourself saying certain things. You should change them to, there's so much time and so little to do. There is always time when I look for it. Or if I'm committed and it's important enough, I will make the time for it. Or if it's important enough, you'll do it. So it just comes down to prioritization. So what are you prioritizing right now in your life? Maybe you're prioritizing your job over your Amazon business. And maybe you have reason to, because your job is providing you with your steady income. So you're prioritizing that over your Amazon business. But you have to realize that that's the reality. And yes, maybe there's reason for that, but just realize that that's a reality. So it is prioritized over your Amazon business. So if you're staying late at the office and you're spending extra hours on your job and you're sacrificing the time for your Amazon business, well, okay, you have to realize what am I prioritizing and why? So the Amazon business, yeah, you might not make income right away, but you're building an asset. So for me, for example, I might make more money as a server. Sometimes servers at a pub, they make a lot of tips. And that's quick cash, that's profit, that's straight to their pocket. But guess what? They're not building an asset. So you have to always remember that your business online, your Amazon business, can be sold at some point in time. And I have to tell you, a lot of these Amazon sellers, most of them, what they do is they build businesses on Amazon, they sell them. They build them, they sell them, they build them, they sell them. And that's really where a lot of the money comes from. So remember, it's about building an asset. So are you prioritizing family time? That's awesome. You should prioritize your family. But also remember that, you need to find time to work on this business. So just figuring out what your priorities are in your day and making sure that you master your beliefs. Don't have any limiting beliefs, because they're just limiting beliefs. And if you haven't done much self-development in the past, I highly recommend just getting more into it, spending more time reading books or podcasts, because when you really kind of infiltrate your mind with these positive thoughts, it's going to help you just feel like you want to work harder. It's going to help you a lot with your mindset. So next would be mastering, outsourcing, and leveraging. So once you figure out, okay, I need about 5 hours a day to work on my Amazon business to really scale it to where I want it to be. But I only actually have 2 hours a day right now. When I did the 1 week exercise and I found out how much time I have, I only have 2 extra hours a day. So how am I going to get 5 hours of work done when I only have 2 hours? Okay, so now you start to write down a list of all the things that you need to get done. And then you figure out the things that are going to take up the most time. And then from those things you figure out, okay, do I personally need to be doing that task, or can I outsource that? So outsourcing is amazing. And honestly, I wish I had done it sooner as an Amazon seller. I waited until about 2 years into my business to outsource anything. And the reason for that was because I didn't want to spend money. But the fact of the matter is, you can hire someone for about $3 an hour in the Philippines, and they're fantastic. I love everyone that I hire on Upwork.com. They're amazing, they're hardworking, and $3, $4 an hour is actually a good wage there, so it's not unethical for them. They're very happy and they are very motivated to work for that money. And so figure out, okay, what can you do and what can you automate? Um, so your goal should be to turn all of the repetitive tasks you do into a system. So for example, grocery shopping, excuse me, grocery shopping, eating out, food and meal deliveries, getting a cleaner, doing the laundry, car wash, mowing the lawn, personal assistants, virtual assistants, and softwares. So what I mean by this, are you spending about an hour a day cooking meals? Can you outsource that? Could you potentially have a meal delivery service that is affordable for you? Are you spending maybe 4 hours a week cleaning the house? Well, you could probably outsource that. Are you spending, an hour a day, I don't know, doing whatever? So figure out ways that where you're spending your time, maybe in the household. Those things should be outsourced as a priority. And you know what? You have to also really value your time. So figure out how much your time is worth, and if it costs. So if your time is worth $50 an hour, and it costs you $25 an hour to hire somebody to clean the house, and that takes 2 hours, well, then you're going to be paying them only $50, and that means you basically profited $50. So you have to really realize what your time is worth and not be afraid to spend money on services, because that's really what's going to help you get further. Because once you have more time, you're able to just not only do more work on your Amazon business, but enjoy life more. What's life about? You want to do things that you love to do. It's not just about saving all this money and going to the grave with it. It's also about being able to enjoy it. So definitely recommend outsourcing as much as possible. So household-wise, for sure. Now, when it comes to your business, again, hiring a virtual assistant. So I recommend going on Upwork.com right after this call. Main things that I would recommend to outsource are your social media pages. So finding a VA that can just post on your social media for you, because I've talked about several times, how important it is to have thriving social media pages. It is very important, and the fact of the matter is, it takes a lot of time, and that's just the way it is. So can you outsource this? Absolutely. This is such an easy thing to outsource. So I recommend going on Upwork, finding somebody that you can hire for maybe $3 an hour, $20 a week, does all of your social media, and probably can do a better job than what you're currently doing. Because the fact of the matter is, they're going to have more time to spend on it. They probably have a bunch of different accounts that they're also managing, so they know more about the tips and strategies on, maybe how to go viral with social media more than what you do, because you don't have time to do the research to do all that stuff. This is their life. This is their job. They only focus on social media. So hire somebody like that. They're going to help you grow your social media exponentially. Second, if you're already selling on Amazon, get somebody to do customer service. I spent so many hours answering emails. At one point, it was 4 to 6 hours a day answering emails. Why did I do that? Just to save a few bucks? It's not worth it. My time is worth so much more, and so is yours. So find people that can outsource. Those two things are maybe the most important things. And as you scale, you want to outsource maybe your YouTube editing videos. Maybe you want to outsource your accounting. Maybe you want to outsource your inventory management. Maybe you want to outsource your whole Amazon business. So you can actually find people who have Amazon experience who just want to work for somebody else. They don't want to own their own business. They just want to work for somebody else. And you can say, okay, I need you to go call Amazon right now and ask them about why my brand registry isn't going through. And they're going to spend the 6 hours that sometimes it takes on the phone with Amazon to figure it out. So you don't have to be doing that stuff yourself. And I have to say that once I started outsourcing things, man, my life is just so much better. I'm so much happier. I'm not afraid to part with that money. I am more than happy to give them bonuses when they do great work because it really saves me a lot of time. I can work on things that are really going to grow my business instead of things that are just maintaining it. So you always want to remember, do things that grow your business and don't just focus on the basic things that maintain it. Okay. Next is mastering your energy. Now, this is an important one because, you might be working all day long and then you come home at the end of the night and you're like, you have the intention to work on your business. You have intention after dinner, maybe when the babies are put to bed, that you're going to get on the computer and start working on your business. But what happens when you just don't have the energy? Sometimes that is just really devastating because you want to do it. You truly do. You made the time for it. You had the mindset to do it, but you're physically exhausted, you're mentally exhausted. So you need to figure out how to master your energy. Now, for most people, it's not a lack of energy, okay? More energy does equal more time and more efficiency. Richard Branson says that exercise is key. So sometimes what you need to do is you do actually need to be physically active in the day. So if you're sitting around all day at a desk job, maybe before you head home, spend an hour at the gym or 30 minutes at the gym just getting some exercise in, because what's going to do, it's going to get blood flow circulating through your body. It's also going to help you oxygenate your cells and bring a lot of oxygen to your brain. And I would actually recommend doing some breathing exercises. If you ever feel tired, there's a number of breathing exercises that you can search online. Really, really great. Basically all it is it's just deep breathing. So basically you want to take deep breaths, and what it's going to do, it's going to bring a lot of oxygen to your brain. So for maybe a couple minutes you're going to feel high, like you're actually high, but that's a good thing, and it's going to bring energy, and you're going to feel focused, and you're going to feel like you're on a roll. So it's almost kind of like a little trick. So I would definitely do breathing exercises at that point, but also figure out, maybe there's a reason that you're lacking energy. Maybe it is some sort of medical issue. So get the testing done. If you find that you're tired all the time, it could be because of a hormonal issue. So it could be due to low testosterone. It could be due to low estrogen, man or female, it just depends. It could be due to, thyroid problems. There's a number of different things. So you just want to make sure that you are in optimal health. So your health and your physical exercise are very important. And, for me, there's certain energy principles that I live by. They include that you need to have great sleep. So don't deny yourself sleep. I know a lot of people, they say, oh, well, I live on, 4 hours of sleep and I am super productive during the day. Yeah, you might be productive during the day, but in the long run, it actually compounds the effects of lacking sleep, and it does hurt you. And there's been many studies to prove this. So I do recommend getting in, a good amount of sleep. And it is going to depend for each person. I'm not going to say 8 hours because it does depend for each person, but I would definitely do above 4 hours, at least 6 hours of sleep a night, I would say. Breathing, like I mentioned, super important because a lot of times, even as I'm talking here, my breaths are very short. They're not deep breaths. So you want to make sure that you're bringing in a lot of oxygen for your body, oxygenating your cells. Raw foods are great. So if you tend to eat a lot of processed foods and nothing that's really raw, you're not going to have the energy. So when you cook vegetables, you're actually losing that life force. Same thing with, a lot of processed fried foods. It's basically the opposite of energy. So if you have a lot of raw veggies and greens and salads, you're literally getting the energy from those vegetables and they're going into your body. And it's just going to make you feel light, make you feel energized, make you feel actually happier. So make sure that you're getting maybe a salad with every meal. I like to have a big salad at least once a day. And if I don't have it, I kind of feel sluggish and I just feel lethargic. Burning fat. So, if you can get yourself into a fat burning state, that's always good. People know this as being in a ketogenic state. So if you're in a fat burning state, that can help you with energy. I remember when I did a ketogenic diet, I ended up just crazy amounts of energy. I was almost up all night. I just had a lot of energy. And so you also have to remember that eating big meals will take your energy away. And the reason for this is because your body uses a lot of energy to break down foods. So if you're having a big meal before you start work, so for example, you come home from your day job, you have dinner, and then you want to work on your Amazon business. I recommend holding off on having a big dinner before starting your work because it's gonna take away a lot of your energy because your body's gonna start working on digestion, and then you're not gonna have as much energy as if you would if you just had maybe a protein shake, come home, have a protein shake, work on your business for a couple hours, then have the big dinner, then maybe go to bed. So definitely make sure that you're not eating huge meals because it will slow you down. Intermittent fasting is a good option as well for energy. Intermittent fasting basically means that you want to have a window of around maybe 16 to 18 hours where you're in a fasted state. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they will, go to bed on an empty stomach, wake up, maybe skip breakfast, and then just have lunch and dinner. So they'll have 2 meals a day. And basically that means that they're fasting for an extended period of time in the morning, and it's going to help their bodies just empty out what's already in the stomach instead of keep on piling things in. Helps you get into a fat burning state as well. Intermittent fasting is a good option as well. Just depends. I talked about exercise, super important. And then again, hormone optimization. So just making sure that your hormones are in balance, getting the blood work done, because sometimes there's an underlying problem that you do not see. So if you feel like you're abnormally tired, if you know that this is not a common thing, or if you talk with your friends and you ask them, or if you see that they just have more energy than you and you just know something's maybe wrong, definitely get the testing done. Invest in yourself. It is worth spending $1,000 for a test if you can, because it's gonna, you can't put a price on health. If you can optimize your health, it's gonna help you grow in every other area of your life. You're gonna have more energy to spend with your kids. You're gonna have more energy to work on your business. You're gonna be in a better state around your friends and family. So optimize your health. That's a priority for sure. All right. Next over here we have, let me just check on this chat here. Okay. Awesome, you guys are there. Okay, where am I? Okay, so master weekly and daily planning. So write and a capture of everything you want to do for the week on Sunday or Monday. So for example, on maybe Sunday evening, you decide, okay, next week I plan on doing this, this, and this. And just have it written down. You guys you need to start writing things down. Same thing with goals. If you have goals, write them down. It's not enough to have it in your head. They actually did studies with children with goal setting, and they said, okay, we're going to test the kids who actually wrote down their goals versus kids who just thought about them. And the kids who wrote down their goals were like exponentially achieved way more than the kids who just thought about the goals. So you have to physically write things down. So out of the list, identify the most important things to do. Then schedule them in your calendar. So physically go into your calendar. Where's my phone's right there. Go into your calendar, use Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, and set a reminder. So for example, for this coaching call, what I have on my calendar is I have live coaching call, 1 p.m. PST, and I set a reminder for an hour before the call starts to remind me about it so I can get ready if necessary. And I also set a second reminder, which is 1 day ahead of time. So, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was coming. But if you have 2 reminders, 1 day before, an hour before, you're never going to miss out on it. So set things, get organized, set things in your calendar. If you have a physical calendar, sure, write in that as well, but just making sure to organize things. Next, you want to create blocks of time to schedule in when you'll work on specific areas of your life. So, for example, maybe on Tuesday nights, you say, okay, Tuesday nights, just Amazon business. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays nights are just Amazon business nights. I'm going to tell my family, I'm going to tell my friends not to call me. I'm going to make sure that my work emails are off, so my boss isn't always contacting me. And those nights, I'm blocked off. I have no other responsibilities. My husband isn't going to come down and ask me to, help with the kitchen or whatever. that's my time to focus on my Amazon business. Or you might say, Sunday days is family day. Sunday is family day. So, remember, it's not always the quantity, it's the quality. So if you feel like, oh, well, I don't want to work on my Amazon business because I want to spend a lot of time with my kids, my family, well, if you're spending little bits and pieces of time here and there, maybe it's better if you can actually allocate a whole entire day to the family. Maybe go on a big trip somewhere, or do something fun, spend a whole day, going shopping and getting ice cream or whatever it may be. I don't know what you guys do, but allocate days for certain things. So, Sunday's family day, and then maybe on Tuesday it's date night with your husband or your wife. So you want to make sure that your Amazon business doesn't consume your life. You still want to have a balanced lifestyle, but you want to make sure that you are also scheduling things in so that you don't feel overwhelmed by all the stuff that you have to do. So when you have a balanced schedule, it becomes easier because you already know, sorry, can't hang out on Tuesday night, that is my date night. Sorry, can't hang out on Wednesday night, that is when I do my Amazon business. Oh, but Thursday is actually open. We can do something then. So just make sure that you can organize things. And even on a daily basis is good to just organize your schedule as well. And one thing I wanted to say that kind of skipped my mind now, it'll come back to me. So next is master elimination and focus. So every day you need to start to eliminate things from your calendar. Now, what I mean by this is sometimes a lot of opportunities come our way. Sometimes we get a lot of requests from friends, family, work. They ask us to do things and we want to do them. We want to help, but sometimes we need to learn to say no. And you got to figure out what is right for you right now at this point in time. For example, for me, I've had requests to do different things, like be on different YouTube channels for Amazon. And although I was like, oh, this sounds appealing, this could benefit me, I could, reach more people this way, or, it could, help me be more discovered. But at the same time, I was like, no, sorry, I can't, because it's just not going to fit in with my schedule. It's going to cram things up. It's going to make me rushed. And right now, it's just not a priority. My prioritization isn't to, get more followers or to have more views. It's to do this, this, and this. So know what your priorities are, stick to them, and be able to put your foot in the ground and say, no, sorry, this isn't going to work out for me today. So be able to, even if you do accept a request, if someone says, hey, I've got a dinner party Sunday night, would you and your husband love to join us? And you say, oh yeah, absolutely. Even if you do say that, be able to call them the next day if you can't do it and say, I'm so sorry, I forgot, but I have it already booked in my calendar. I've got a lot of work that day. I'm just not able to attend. Be authentic. You don't have to lie about it, but also just stand true to yourself. Don't feel ashamed to say no, and don't feel guilty to say no. You need to take time to do what's important in your life. So once you figure out your priorities, it becomes a lot easier to decipher what to say yes to and what to say no to. And also eliminating distractions. So eliminating things that aren't important. So remember the Tony Robbins time targets. We figured out that there are things that are important, and there are things that are urgent, and there are things that appear to be important, but they're actually just urgent. And we figured out the 4 time quadrants. If you haven't seen that stream, please go back and watch it. And you need to figure out, okay, what are the things that are actually important versus the things that are just urgent? Because usually the things that are urgent really aren't the things that are gonna get you the furthest. So that goes for all areas of life. I'm not gonna repeat that whole stream because that was a long one. Next, you need to master your routines and rituals. So this is a good one, and this is important. And consistency is key for efficiency. So if you wake up at 6 a.m. and you go to bed at 11 p.m., then keep it a routine. Make it a ritual, and try to stick with it for a long period of time. So for example, if your routine might be, okay, I wake up at 6 a.m., I go to the gym at 6:30 a.m., I have breakfast at 8 a.m., and I leave the house for work at 9 a.m. Well, you got done quite a bit of things between 6:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. And that way then, it just helps you kind of stay on track with your life. So if your morning ritual is 15 to 60 minutes long, then that's fine, but you just need to incorporate that into your schedule. And for example, morning ritual, if you guys don't know what that is, basically a morning ritual is you create it yourself. It's completely individualized. It is specific to what you feel you need in your life. And I do have a video about that, I believe, as well. So some people's ritual is basically they just get up in the morning, maybe they say 5 things that they're grateful for. They write in their productivity planner, which is also a good option for you guys if you're trying to stay more on time with things. You can have buy the productivity planner, that's what it's called. Maybe they read a chapter of a book, or they do a breathing exercise, or they say a prayer, whatever it is. It can be 15 to 60 minutes long. And you can definitely do this. And this is important because this is also going to give you energy, and it's also going to give you that zest for life. It's going to give you more than just physical energy. It's going to give you emotional energy. It's going to make you feel like you want to start the day. It just makes you feel like life is awesome, So definitely incorporate a morning ritual, but you have to make sure it is in your routine. And if you're trying to build a routine and trying to form a habit, it is going to take time. So don't expect it to come naturally the first week that you try it. It's going to take a couple weeks before you actually build it into a habit. So for example, so like I said, map out your ideal day with all your rituals, write it down, and then try it out one day and tweak things if you have to, if things just didn't work out time-wise. And then pretty soon you've got a whole morning ritual done. Do that in the morning, figure out what your time is during the day, and your nighttime ritual as well. And so again, you can see the repetitiveness when I keep saying write it down, write it down, write it down, because this is going to really help you conceptualize it. It's going to help you engrave it in your mind, and it's going to help you form that habit. So next you need to master your musts. So there are things that we should do, there are things that we can do, and there are things that we want to do, but there are things that we must do. And it's really only the must do things that we actually do. So when you really want something, you need to make it a must. So every day ask yourself, what are the top 3 most important and highest leverage things for me to do today? So maybe you have a list of 10 things that you want to get done, a to-do list. Now, this is specifically for your work that I'm talking about. So, if you work in the early morning, or if you're working in the late evening, if you have this long list of 10 things, you don't want to do all 10 things. No, you want to figure out maybe your top 3 things for that day that are the most important. These are your musts. And only once you finish those things, then you can work on the other things in the list. So you don't want to overwhelm yourself with this huge list, because honestly, it's not possible to always get everything done. And then you're not going to feel accomplished at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you figure out what the musts are. And remember the 80-20 principle. Sometimes, 80, so sometimes it is 80% of the work that you're doing is giving you 20% of the results. So, no, it's the other way. Sometimes 20% of the work you're doing is giving you 80% of the results. So you have to figure out what are the things that are really giving me the biggest results and focus on those. Prioritize them, again. So this is your criteria for success for that day. So figuring out those 3 musts, that's what will help you succeed. And once you do, figure what those things are and accomplish them, you need to give yourself praise. You need to be grateful and be happy and praise yourselves. Now, I recommend reading the book Eat the Frog. It's about productivity. It's really going to help you guys, and it will help you figuring out those 3 things. And always remember to do those first. So 3 things are first before anything else. Now, also remember that you're going to have the most willpower in the beginning of the day. So, for example, let's talk about eating habits. Usually in the beginning of the day, do you have a ton of cravings? Do you feel like, oh, I'm just really craving that ice cream right now, or I just really want those chips? No, it's usually at the end of the day, because what happens is we have the most willpower at the beginning of the day and it drops off towards the end of the day because we used a lot of willpower throughout the day and we just depleted ourselves. So same thing with work. Remember that if you can do work in the morning, that's awesome. We tend to have more willpower at that time. If you can't, that's fine. Just keep it in mind. So next is to master speed and urgency. So, sometimes we need to figure out how can we be more efficient with our time. Maybe we're just slow. I've seen, some people that I'm just painful to see how long it takes to write an email. So you need to figure out, okay, be honest with yourself. Should it really take you 30 minutes to write this email? Should it really take you 60 minutes to record this video? Should it really take you, 1 week to write this blog post? Probably not. So you need to figure out how can you learn to work fast and efficiently. So sometimes the reasons for that might be distractions. So making sure that you turn off all notifications on your phone. Honestly, you guys I would definitely recommend turning off all notifications on the phone anyways. So no any, they're called, what are they called? When they, websites, apps, they send you notifications. Basically anything that pops up on your phone, turn them off. Even messages, really. I don't even know if you can turn off messages, but basically everything other than messages, turn off so that you're not constantly distracted by that. Also on your browser, if you get pop-ups, every time you get a Facebook message or every time you get a Facebook post or whatever it is, turn those things off. They're distracting. Also set a timer. So like I said, the productivity journal is a good option if you need to figure out, how to be more productive and set those timers. Basically, it's going to help you figure out, okay, every maybe 30 to 60 minutes, you focus on one thing, absolute focus, and then you take a 10-minute break. And so there's been studies done that when you take more breaks, you're actually more efficient. So for people who are studying in university and they study for 5 hours straight, they would actually learn more if they actually took breaks every hour. So be efficient by taking breaks. Also, eliminate perfectionism. Now, this might be hard to hear for some people because some people really truly are perfectionists. And perfectionism is beautiful. It can definitely help you. It can make you, have a beautiful website or a beautiful Instagram feed. But the truth is, it can really slow you down because the time it takes to perfect something is usually just much longer than is necessary. Sometimes, your email that you shoot out doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect to convey a message. So remember that nothing is actually perfect. Perfect is a subjective term. And so you have to realize that you're not going to ever reach that level of perfectionism. There's no such thing. So be okay with doing your best, and don't take too long to do things. Basically, that's what I want to say. Don't take too long. Try and be efficient. Try and get to the point as quickly as possible. People like that. I know I'm not doing a very good job at that with this stream, but I'm trying to go into detail here. Okay, so next is master immersive and deep work. So there's a big difference between spaced repetition versus immersion. And so Tony Robbins taught me this, and the reason for this is because what happens is when you immerse yourself fully in learning something, you're just going to learn it at a much deeper level. You'll have a much deeper level of understanding, and so it'll stick in your brain for forever. Versus if you do spaced repetition, it's not going to be as deep of an understanding, and you might forget things. So what I'm saying is, for example, a student. This actually happened to me recently. So I was training for my personal training exam to become a personal trainer. And, they give you about a year to do it if you want. You choose how long you take to do it. And so, for example, I was at one point once a week dabbling in the textbook, reading this here and there, and just kind of on and off, just because I had a lot of time to do it and I didn't really prioritize it. And the thing is, because it took me so long, I forgot everything. I made all these cue cards, I spent months studying, and when I read the cue cards again, I was like, wait, what is that? Did I learn that? And so what I did is I ended up restudying the whole thing and I immersed myself in it. This actually happened a week before my exam. I ended up studying like crazy for one whole week and just like page after page, watching everything, doing the training, and I absorbed way more and I retained way more. So immersion is much better than spaced repetition. So if you're trying to learn something, for example, if you're trying to figure out how to do ads, you want to master that. It's great to master things. It's not good to be a dabbler. It's great to be a master. I learned that from Stefan. So what you want to do then is you want to, maybe take a course. You want to read books. You want to watch YouTube videos. You want to, maybe try some ads on yourself. Do everything you can, maybe for 1-2 weeks, and just immerse yourself in that, and then you'll master it. And so, you can learn, maybe 3 things over the course of a year, and you might be okay at them, but you could learn maybe 2 things over the course of, a year, and you could become a master at them. So just try and go deep with things, and do it in a shorter period of time if you can. Now, utilize your focus on one task or project and spend a whole day or weekend. So, for example, if I decide that this weekend I am going to launch my first Amazon product, then I'm going to cancel out everything from my schedule and I'm going to immerse myself, making sure my pre-launch is perfect, not perfect, making sure my pre-launch is great, it's phenomenal, and just immerse myself in it. I'm going to spend the whole weekend in this basement and I'm not going to have any distractions, and I'm just going to dive in and just go, 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 go. And I know some people are like, well, you don't have kids. Well, you don't have this, or you don't have other responsibilities. And that's true. It is harder when you have a family and when you have other people to take care of, or when you have your job. But there is ways to do the immersion. And let's be honest, you can always find a way to do it. So making sure that you can find, even if that means that you have to take a staycation. So you have to say, hey guys, I'm going away for the weekend. And you go and you stay maybe at a little cabin, a couple hours away, and you can just focus on something, then that's going to help get you further. Okay, now next, last but not least, so you guys, if you have questions, you can start typing them right now because we're almost at the end of the stream, is to master celebration and reinforcement. Now, whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. So you want to remember this, because sometimes we're not easy to celebrate things. If, for example, I make a sale today, I want to celebrate that. If I decide to go to the gym today and take care of my body and my health, I need to celebrate that. Even if whatever it means for me, celebrate the little things, and then you're going to end up doing them more frequently. And the fact of the matter is, you can't wait for somebody else to celebrate for you. You can't wait for somebody else to praise you, because that's not always going to happen. So you can't be reliant on someone else. You have to be self-reliant, and you have to take care of yourself. So if that's just a pat on the back, great. But maybe celebrating could be some other things. Maybe there's consequences for not doing certain things. So for example, if your way of celebrating is watching a movie at night, having a bowl of popcorn, and having a beer, that's your way of celebrating yourself, then you can say, okay, if I do my 3 things today, then I can celebrate myself at the end of the night. But if I don't do them, I don't get to have that. So there is pleasure for completing the 3 things, and there's pain for not completing them. And what's going to happen is that you're going to really strive to always completing the 3 tasks that you set out for yourself, because you have attached such high levels of pleasure to it and such deep pain to not doing it. So remember that if you ever want to do something more often, you want to reward yourself with pleasure. If you want to do something less frequently, you want to make it a painful experience. So if you want to stop smoking, you have to attach some sort of pain to the act of smoking. Same thing with your family life. If you have, for example, my boyfriend. If my boyfriend, what can I say? I'm completely making it up, but if, for example, he always he always leaves his clothes on the ground. If he always leaves his clothes on the ground, like he never hangs them up in the closet, I have to always pick them up for him. I've got to do something or get him to do something to make it a painful experience to leaving the clothes on the ground. And then he's not going to do it as often. I haven't thought of anything yet. But basically, you have to attach pain to not doing the habit that you want to eliminate and pleasure to doing the habit that you want to adopt. And always, if it is a habit you want to eliminate, you always have to adopt a new habit. So a more positive, reinforcing habit. So even social media, so even going on your phone and checking social media, that could be a reward. So you don't get to do that all day long until you've done maybe one thing. Maybe it's until you've answered all your emails, or maybe it's until you've, created an ad, or whatever it is. You need to set these things up as rewards. And also just celebrating in general, like smile, laugh, listen to music, dance, just love yourself. Because like I said, if you're not going to love yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to be able to just enjoy being around you, enjoy being with you. And just really, for example, today I have, done quite a bit of work, and I'm going to love myself. I'm going to actually, for me, it's maybe dancing and singing. And I, go on a car ride and I start singing super loud because nobody can hear me. But that's how I show love to myself. And so you have to always do things that you can really reinforce all of the positive things that you're doing in the world, and make sure that you give yourself that love. Self-love is important. Now, the last thing is to master accountability. Now, you guys have the Facebook group, which is good, but it's not that active. And I find that oftentimes these type of Amazon and business Facebook groups are not as active as, for example, support group, or like my waist training group is super active. But you guys need to find an accountability group, and maybe you can be more active on the Facebook group, or create your own. So if you have friends that are also entrepreneurs, or online friends that are entrepreneurs, you need to find some way that you can connect, create a mastermind, and hold each other accountable. And an example of this is hosting a weekly mastermind. So say, for example, for me, it's 5 other ladies once a week. Every Sunday afternoon, we go on a video call together, and we all have 30 minutes to share about all our wins that we had during the week. And then we also have some time to share any struggles that we have and anything we want help with or feedback on. And so what happens is everyone can give you feedback. People can hold you accountable to the things that you set out for yourself earlier the last week. And it's really important to have that, because it's going to also make you motivated to do more, because you don't want to let other people down. So if you publicly proclaim your goals, if you publicly declare, okay, these are the 5 things I need to get done this week, and I'm going to get done this week, and the next week you show up and you didn't do any of them, it doesn't look good. So you're going to hold yourself to a higher level of accountability because it's public. I would also recommend a daily accountability buddy. So if you can find somebody who is maybe on the same journey as you, maybe somebody in the ASM group that is willing to become your buddy, maybe even somebody on the stream right now, and you say, okay, we're at the same spot right now and we both need accountability. Let's have maybe a Facebook check-in every day. We message each other, or we call each other, whatever it might be, and we make sure that we completed the goals that we had for set out for ourselves. So accountability is super important, because sometimes we can't always rely on ourselves, because we can cheat ourselves. We can lie to ourselves, and so we need to make sure that somebody else can hold us accountable to our own actions. All right. So I'm going to go into question answering mode right now. I do have some questions on the email here that I will be answering, but I'll also answer questions, of course, on the stream if you guys have any. Okay. So Jessica says, where do you find the workers in the Philippines at? I'm interested in learning more. So this is, I'm surprised that you don't know about this actually. This is called Upwork.com. I'll type it in here. upwork.com. Amazing website. I use it basically, I don't have any actual employees. Like I work alone, but I do have freelancers that I hire online. So everybody that works for me is from the Philippines, and I just have, somebody for customer service. I have two ladies that do customer service. I have one lady that does social media, and then I just have, random people that edit my videos and stuff like that. So it's really awesome because it's very affordable and it's really good communication because on Upwork.com they actually, you pay them by the hour, but you can see their screen. So they take pictures of their screen every, whatever amount of time, and you can see what they're working on. So you actually can see that they're not, making up about how many hours they're working, and it is all legitimate. And it's also just a great place to chat and just find people all over the world. It's not just from the Philippines, it's all over the world. So wherever you want to hire people from. It's also a great place to hire talent. So if you're looking just for a really amazing video editor for maybe a promo video that you're creating, you can find people that are really like high end, that are, worked with, movies and stuff like that. So really good platform. Jessica's at work right now. I know the time for this stream honestly isn't that convenient, and I know that some people are at work, and I've been trying to do streams pretty much every weekend, but I am fully booked this week. And next week is my boyfriend's birthday. And actually, you know what? This is an important thing too. I do prioritize my relationship over all my work. So including, over the stream, I prioritize my relationship. I prioritize my relationship over my business, because really in the end, if I don't prioritize it, what's going to happen is that I'm going to become hungry just for my business. I'm going to want to achieve all these levels of success. I'm going to achieve all this money, but what's it really worth? The quality of my relationship is much more important than the success and the money and even how many people I help, because the relationship is something that lasts a lifetime. It's the person that you're around the most, and so you have to really appreciate the time spent with them. So I pretty much block off as much as possible the weekends for my relationship. So Lilia says, my product is a tool and I don't have enough content to post on social media. Can you please recommend me how to be more creative when I make posts on my social media? Okay, yeah, so that's fair enough. So some products, like this is when I give feedback, I say, well, is this product really marketable? So some products they're not really marketable on social media, because let's be honest, if someone's scrolling on Instagram and they saw an ad of a screwdriver, are they really gonna be excited? Probably not. Like there's certain products that you find on Amazon that are just good products. For example, a product that would be really marketable could be, the kids' mermaid tail. That's like a blanket. That's a great product for Pinterest or for Instagram, because you can make cool videos or pictures of kids in it smiling. The tail looks super pretty, and it catches attention. So definitely there is an advantage to certain products versus other products when it comes to marketing. And you have to be aware of this when you do pick your product. You have to be aware that, yeah, I'm going to pick this product because it's a bestseller, but I know I'm going to struggle marketing it on social media. This product, it might not be as good of a seller because it's not like a tool that I need every single day in my life. But I also do know that I have a marketing edge because it's unique, it's different, it's something that is going to basically draw people's attention to it. So you have to know that ahead of time. But at the same time, if that is the case, you also have to remember that you have to figure out, okay, I'm not just trying to share the tool on social media. You have to figure out, why do people buy the tool? What is the purpose? Is it because they're just, men who love working on cars? Are they just like, those guys that just love fixing things? Are they into all types of cars? Are they into motorcycles? Like, what are they into? And then maybe share those things. So figure out really who your customer avatar is. So I talked about a customer avatar in another stream. I highly recommend creating one. Customer avatar is basically where you figure out who is your ideal customer, when they come to your product on Amazon. Who are they? Where are they from? What's their name? What's their age? What are their hobbies? What are their interests? what type of pages did they like on Facebook, how many kids do they have, how much time do they spend on social media, how much time do they spend on Amazon, that type of thing. You want to get as detailed as possible with your customer avatar. You also want to know when they come to your listing, what could be their complaints, what could be maybe their buy-in limitations. Maybe it's because, my avatar is making $30,000 a year and making this purchase would be a really big deal for them. So they really have to contemplate about it. They might have to ask their wife, hey, what do you think about this purchase? Really figure out where it is, where your customer is coming from. And so once you really understand who your customer is, then it becomes much easier to create content, because you realize, hey, they're not just buying a tool, they're buying a tool to do this because they want to create this, they want to build this, and they're interested in all these hobbies, and they're interested in, maybe ATVs and motorcycles or whatever it might be. So then you can create your social media with posts that would be attractive to that customer. So, maybe it's about, the latest, the newest car, or like an old car that was recently remodeled and made it new, or whatever it might be. I don't know, right? But basically post what they're interested in, and then every once in a while share your tool. You don't have to post about your product every single day, and I highly don't recommend that, because people see through that. They see that you're just trying to sell them something. You want to add value to the customer. So add value, share with them something that might put a smile on their face, maybe something that might teach them something, so something that they didn't know, maybe it's a fact, and just try and get creative with that. Let me know if that answered your question. Okay, I've got some more questions here. Okay, so got email questions that got sent in. So someone says, at what point did I personally quit my job? So I actually have, when I talked to Matt Clark about this, who is, he created ASM with Jason Katzenbach, most people, they don't quit their jobs right away. So don't expect to quit it right away. And I personally didn't quit my job until, I think it was about maybe a year and a half or 2 years into my business. So it took me a while. It wasn't instantaneously. And the reason for that also is because when you start this business, you can't really expect to bring money into your pocket. You have to go in with the mindset that I'm just going to constantly reinvest these profits, and that's how it's going to grow faster. And you can take money out and put in your pocket, but honestly, it's not going to help you grow fast enough, and you're going to kind of get, it's just going to be a lot harder. You have to be able to have income that's coming from your day job to support you financially, so that any profits you make with your business for the first 6 months or a year can be reinvested in the business, because that's how it's going to grow faster. And the faster it grows, the faster it is that you can actually pull profits out. So it wasn't until I decided that, okay, at this point I'm making enough money where I can pay myself a happy wage, and I'm able to, live off the business, and also have savings in case anything does go wrong. And my business, you always do have to kind of think worst case scenario, because say for example, Amazon shuts you down or your business collapses. Well, at that point, it's like you have all the skills you need to basically recreate it. So I always say, everything I learned to this point is not wasted. So even if everything I did got destroyed, even if, everything got hacked and I lost everything and lost all my money, well, it would be a shame. But at the same time, I wouldn't be down on myself. I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't go and work at Dairy Queen again, which is where I used to work. I would just recreate it, because now I've learned all these skills. Nobody can take what's in my mind. So all the time that you spend learning and investing in your personal growth, in your education, that's invaluable. Like, that is going to stay there forever. So you can always recreate something and even recreate it better. Knowing everything I know now, if I were to recreate my business, it would be way better than it is now. And I probably wouldn't have started with the products that I had started with, right? So you have this advanced knowledge. So it took me that amount of time, but it is arbitrary. It's different for everybody. So in a typical day or week, how much of your time is allocated to this business? Um, so pretty much the things that, what I do right now is I do the things that are going to grow my business. I always talk about this, but I'm going to get into specifics for you guys. So when I open my computer in the day, I create a little checklist of things that I want to do. I select the top 3 most important things. Everything else is secondary to that. But everything on that list are things that are going to grow the business, because what I've done at this point is I've hired people to do things that are going to maintain the business, which include customer service, social media, Amazon, whatever happens with Amazon, I have somebody to take care of that. Um, Editing videos, like these are things that kind of just, they need to be done, but they don't need to be done by me. So now when I open my computer, all I'm working on are things that are really gonna either make me a lot of money or help me reach more people or just gonna grow the business in general. So I figure out what those things are. And sometimes, I spend, I'm exhausted. Sometimes I spend 15 hours working in the day, like not even leaving my desk. Sometimes I don't work at all. So it just depends. It's very different week by week. Like I just made a post on Instagram right now. I said, I get to work hard and I get to play hard. The great thing is that, yeah, I might have a week where every day I'm working 15 hours a day and I'm exhausted, but maybe the next week I'm taking a vacation. I have that mobility and the financial freedom now to actually go and travel and go to Mexico and spend a week there and just not do anything. So I would much rather work my ass off for a week and then take a week off rather than working pretty, 8 hours a day every day for the whole year. So it really just depends. And at the same time, Stefan always reminds me, my boyfriend always reminds me that, yeah, Tatiana, you don't need to work that hard. And the truth is, if I just want to keep my business where it is right now, at the financial spot that it is right now, I don't have to work really that much because a lot of things are outsourced. I would basically just have to attend to my computer if there's any cases that need my attention, things that other people can't solve. Or for example, if a website is down, then I would have to attend to it. But everything I do right now is basically to grow my business, and I choose to do that. So I choose to grow my business because I'm in the spot right now where I don't have a family, I don't have any responsibilities, I'm basically a nomad, I don't have a home base. So I'm willing to put in the time to grow it. And also because of my vision for my life. In the next 2 to 3 years, I plan on actually settling down, getting married, and starting a family. And I know that when I have my first baby, I don't want to work. My goal is to not have the business. I mean, I want to own the business, but I don't want to be working in the business. By that point, I want it all outsourced. I want it all automated. And I only want to be doing videos. I only want to be creating videos on YouTube because I really do enjoy it. I really do enjoy creating videos. But at this point, I don't really have that much time to do it because I'm so focused on growing the actual business. And YouTube's are videos, it's hard because they do grow the business, but it's hard to calculate by how much. So it just depends on the vision for your life. The great thing is that you get to choose. I personally, that's what I'm choosing to do for the next 2 years of my life. But I'm also planning on traveling the world for the next 2 years. In June, a month from now, I plan on moving to Panama. I plan on traveling all of Europe and basically going to go to China and Africa and everywhere. And I plan on traveling the world. So I can do that while I'm working hard, which is pretty cool. What else do we have here? So, question about brand registry. That I addressed also in my Lux Biz video on product packaging. Brand registry is important. Basically, what brand registry does is it can protect you from the buy box. Um, Basically, the buy box is like when you don't have brand registry, say for example you sell your product on Amazon but you're selling it at like a 40% discount, and somebody sees that, some sketchy person sees that, and they say, I'm going to buy 2,000 of their units at 40% discount and I'm going to resell on it on Amazon at full price, and then I'm going to make a 40% profit. So what happens then is you're basically competing against your own product because this person who is sketchy is doing this to you, and basically you created the listing, but now because they're selling the product at a different price, they're going to win the buy box, and it's a battle of the buy box, and it becomes really hard to have someone actually find your listing or buy your product where you make the money. I know I didn't really explain that well, but you can Google it. But basically, if you get brand registry, it is going to help you win the buy box. You always want that. Second, it's also going to just help you get A plus enhanced brand content. So when you go to Amazon, you see some pages that just, if you look at their description, it's not just a block of text. It's actually like images and beautiful, and it's very nice. That's what you get when you have brand registry. So that definitely helps with your listing conversions and is really important. And in order to get brand registry, you have to have a trademark that has been processed and is active. So if you don't have a trademark, you're not going to get it. How do you avoid your competitor to give you a 1-star review? You avoid it by making sure that you have a great quality product, and B, great customer service. If you have both of those, there's no reason to get a 1-star review unless this person's like extremely mad at life. So just make sure that you are authentic with your product. Make sure that it is great quality. If you did a quality inspection and it didn't pass, but you're selling the product anyways, well, you know why you're getting the 1-star. And just make sure that you have good customer service. So sometimes for me, I might get a 1-star review because what happened was somebody bought a product of mine, it didn't fit them. They wanted to return the product, so they emailed me. But because we get so many emails, like that's something I need to work on with my business, is that we get so backed up and we don't get to respond to people quickly enough. And these people who are returning the product, they want an answer right away because they've got this product here. They feel like, well, I can't wear it. I want to get started right away with race training. And so they get upset that we don't answer right away. And so then they leave a 1-star review. So just make sure that you have prompt customer service and you have great customer service. So the customer is always right. Yes, always. Okay. All right, so I think that is all, guys. The stream, wow, 71 minutes, guys. This might be the longest stream I've had. If there's no other questions, I want to thank you for being with me today. I want to really thank you guys just for spending the last 6 months with me and taking on this course. And I know that, some of you may not be where you have wanted to be at this point, but remember that you have lifetime access, and also remember that Amazon's just continuing to grow. So you're not missing out on much. But of course, the sooner you get started, the better. Everyone always wishes that they started earlier. So please, I really know that this can work for you. I don't doubt what is taught in the course because from my experience, I had no business experience. So if I can do it, really anybody can do it. And I've seen now people who don't even speak English who are able to do it. So I truly believe in it, and that's why I'm promoting it. Right now, you guys will notice that I'm sending out quite a few videos on YouTube because I'm promoting this course again, because again, I truly love it. And so please, if you went through it and your first product didn't work out for whatever reason, go through the course again, see what you missed out. Maybe there's something that you did wrong. Maybe just what's the product, and try again. Sometimes you don't get it the first time. Actually, most of the time you don't get it the first time. So don't be too hard on yourself and never give up. Remember, everything you learn is always the most invaluable thing. It is always super important. And remember to always just be grateful for what it is that you're learning, what it is that you have in life. And I always believe that whatever happens at the right time. So if it didn't happen for you last year, maybe this year's your year, okay? Just take action, and don't forget to always be learning. Always go on, YouTube or go to seminars. That's one thing actually I did want to mention, is that you guys really do have to invest in yourselves. It's not just taking one course. It's actually like going to the seminars, going to SellerCon, physically buying an airplane ticket and attending, going to, different groups and meetups and Amazon meetups. Maybe it's going to maybe it's just investing in also, you know, Tony Robbins courses where it's not about mindset and improving your positive mindset, all these different things. So it's not just one component of taking a course. There's much more to this business than that. And I truly believe that if you have a really great mindset, it's going to help you immensely, because there's a lot of ups and downs. You probably experienced it now. And if you got a poor mindset, you're going to give up as soon as it gets rough. But if you got a positive mindset, you know that it's to be expected, that there are going to be downhills. But as long as you stay on the roller coaster, you're going to end up being fine. And that's pretty much the moral of the story. So thank you guys, and I wish you nothing but the most success in the world, because you deserve it. And it's amazing that you've taken action this far. You're doing something that most people won't do, which is investing in yourself and doing something that's out of the ordinary. You know, you can't expect most people to understand this business because it is different, it is unusual. And talk to you soon. Take care.